What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and today on The Edge, we're going to be taking a look at one of the brand new Pokemon Breakthrough set cards. Now, the pre-releases haven't even started, but I got my hands on this card, and I think it is truly interesting, and that is Seaking. Yeah, Seaking. This is probably the first, if not only, Seaking I've ever seen that is actually really cool, and might actually be worthy of play. It's a 90 HP stage 1, which already brings lots of things to mind, which, yes, we're going to touch on, but we won't spend a lot of time on it since, we talk about that a lot. Everybody talks about that a lot. Both its attacks only cost 1 energy. One of them is 1 water, one of them is 1 colorless. The main attack we're thinking about here is his Soaking Horn attack. It's 1 water for 10 damage, but if you healed Seaking during this turn, he deals an additional 80 damage, meaning that for 1 water energy, if you healed this guy, he deals 90 damage, which obviously is a lot, especially if you're thinking about the potential of taking advantage of an opponent's weakness, in which case you're dealing 180 damage if you manage to double it, which is enough to take out any EX that's pretty much any EX that's not either a Mega or Wailord EX. There are, of course, a few exceptions, but pretty much within the realm of what people play, yeah, he'll pretty much KO any EX that's not a Mega. And he does have this nice other Reckless Charge attack. For once, both the attacks are actually quite nice. It's 1 colorless for 40 damage, and he does 10 to himself, which normally would be pretty horrible. But it's actually been put here pretty much exclusively because it'll deal damage to Seaking. The smallest possible, but enough that it will facilitate your ability to heal him, meaning his Soaking Horn can be a little more easily set up on the next turn, which is pretty gosh darn amazing. He's a very nice card. He's not super broke, but it's easy to pair him up with things that can make him very powerful. Now, obviously, when we're talking about, it's a stage 1, we're talking about pairing with evolutions. Now, obviously not Vaporeon, because Seaking's already a water type. But Jolteon and Flareon so that you can be attacking as a water, fire, and or lightning type as you need. And that's awesome, because that allows you to exploit Soaking Horn's ability to double from 90 to 180, which is a very important number. And there are plenty of things that fear these 3 attacking types, especially the fire and the lightning right now. So those are pretty important. Now, of course, if we're going to mention that, we're going to mention the fact that he can be searched with Level Ball. And so can Goldeen, of course. And we're also going to go ahead and mention that he can be searched with Dive Ball. And the reason we're going to mention Dive Ball is not just because it's another Level Ball, sort of, for Seaking, but because Dive Ball can enable us to splash in other water types if you want to into the deck that might have more than 90 HP and still get them cheaply and easily, but not deny us access to Goldeen and or Seaking when we want them. And that's pretty awesome. And that's something to remember. Now, one thing that's important about this 90 is that Muscle Band combines very well here, because 90 plus 10 means that even without factoring in Jolteon or Flareon, we can deal 110, which is very important, as that is just enough to exactly knock out Shaman EX at 110. And that is a Pokemon that almost every single deck runs. Meaning that Seaking, if you manage to heal him with that Muscle Band on him, which is a very easy situation to create, as I'm about to show you, you can easily just Lysander up that Shaman, and poof, there are 2 prizes from your Seaking. And all you needed was 1 energy, so it's very easy to set up. Now, how are we going to guarantee that damage that we're going to need to heal off of Seaking? I mean, we could Reckless Charge, but then that's 2 turns worth of attacking. 1 turn for the Reckless Charge, and then 1 turn for the Soaking Horn. We want to kind of cut out the middleman there. And probably one of the best ways to do it is Team Magma's Secret Base, which just says whenever any basic Pokemon hits the field, assuming it's not a Team Magma Pokemon, it gets 2 damage counters on it, which is perfect, meaning that you play this as soon as you can and then bench as many Goldeens as you can, and they all will be taking 20 damage, setting up those Seakings to be healed for their Soaking Horns. And if they get knocked out after they attack, that's perfect. But not only that, we're also putting, that way you can bring up the next one, obviously. But what's even better is this also puts 20 damage on that Pokemon, which might not sound like a lot, especially when you consider 180 plus 20 from that Magma Secret Base hit is just 200, and that's not a very big, very important difference for most Pokemon. But when you think about Muscle Band being on, now if you exploit weakness, that's 110 to 220. Well, 220 takes out some Megas, but if you factor in the 20 from Team Magma's Secret Base, that makes that 240, meaning that Seaking can knock out any Mega in one shot if he can exploit its weakness, assuming you've got the Muscle Band and the Magma Base going, which is pretty impressive. Of course, there is another way to exploit Seaking's need for dealing damage. We can just use Rainbow Energy. Attach it, and you can easily execute either of these attacks, and you put the exact 10 damage on Seaking that you need in order to be able to heal him to set off his Soaking Horn. And a little more on that later, because this is a great way to deal damage, if not the best, to deal damage to Seaking, because probably the ideal way to heal the damage, which is the one thing we haven't really addressed yet, is Rough Seas. This is a perfect card. I mean, for one thing, even Jolteon can heal with Rough Seas, and if Jolteon's out, so can Flareon for that matter. And it heals Seaking automatically, with or without Jolteon. This is awesome. It means we can heal every single turn, provided we can get damage on Seaking somehow. And that's amazing. It's a very reliable source of healing. And just generally an annoying card for opponents to have to deal with anyway, especially if you're packing a few EXs that can take advantage of it as well. And what's really nice is this stadium and this stadium, well, we're going to have to choose one or the other. And if we're using this one to heal, well, it's going to make it harder to keep this one out to actually put the damage counters on ourselves when we need to. Or we're going to be running a bunch of stadiums and trading them out constantly, which is difficult. And you can only play one stadium per turn, meaning that if you play this, drop your Goldeen, well, then you can't heal up in the same turn. It's going to be a challenge, or you'd have to do it in other ways, and it's a hassle, and it's not very effective, and it's not good deck building, it takes up a lot of space. We can run these two quite easily together, and they pair well. And what's really good about that is this card, Super Scoop Up. This card combines so well, I find it even hard to talk about. Because basically what you can do is have your Seaking out, bop somebody with Soaking Horn, because like let's say you touched your Rainbow Energy the turn before, well then you can Super Scoop Up, because let's say you found no way to damage your Seaking, call up this Seaking, send up your Jolteon, you can play your Seaking onto the Goldeen you'd had on your bench, meaning you'll only need 2 Goldeen to pull this trick. Meanwhile, you can bench the Goldeen you just Super Scoop Upped, so that you can use it next turn with another Super Scoop Up or some such thing. Now you can attach that Rainbow Energy you scooped up onto your Seaking, deal him 10 damage, Rough Seas away, heal him up to set up his Soaking Horn, free retreat your Jolteon back to your bench, and your Seaking's back up and ready to go as if nothing had happened. Okay, it seems like a lot of words, but it's actually an incredibly easy situation to set up. As many opponents, you can't necessarily nab a Seaking knockout right away, especially if you've been screwing with them with Lysander. What's really, really fantastic is they may try to just leave Seaking up, thinking, oh, well, he can only deal 40 with Reckless Charge, I get a free turn. Nope, no they don't. With Super Scoop Up, there are no free turns allowed, because you get everything back and set up all over again. And the fact that you have a free Retreat Mon waiting on your bench to switch out is just icing on the cake. It's what makes it possible. You don't have to discard energy off a Pokemon to retreat it or have a switch handy. None of that. That's just amazing. Of course, we could always use AZ, but then that's going to lose the Goldeen, and that's not going to lose the Goldeen. It's going to lose the Rainbow Energy, or whatever energy you've got on, and that's going to require us to have other things ready. So AZ is good, but not quite as good as Super Scoop Up. But AZ is guaranteed, and it can still get our Seaking out of trouble, considering it's got a 2 energy retreat, which is kind of unpleasant. And we could use Floatstone to get around that, but obviously we'd rather use Muscle Band and whatnot. Of course, healing can come in as simple a form as Potion. I know it's underrated, but sometimes it can turn EXs from 2-hit KOs to 3-hit KOs for opponents, and most importantly, it helps set up your Seaking. And in a land of Versus Seeker abuse run amok, we could always run one Pokemon Center lady and Versus Seeker her, and what's really nice about her is she can even erase status for us, which is pretty nice. I mean, this could be the difference between being stuck, paralyzed, or asleep for one turn and giving your opponent a free pass, or managing to heal, get rid of the status, attack, and score knockout all in one turn. I mean, this is an interesting card to consider in combination. So anyway, that is enough for today about our breakthrough card Seaking. I hope you have fun at the pre-release on this coming weekend, and with the set when it releases in the week after in early November. I hope you bust the best things out of your packs, and until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.